So the studio jamming is a part of the Scotland-wide generation program, which is to celebrate 25 years contemporary art in Scotland. So taking its cue from musical jamming, which is improvisational, responsive, dynamic, and experimental, this project is said to be a discursive survey to research, annotate, and contextualize the artist collaboration as a particular phenomenon of artist practice in Scotland. So one of the key elements in this project is a spatial intervention by Studio Miessen, and they designed the 4 structures for 4 groups we're featuring through this exhibition. And some groups, they responded to this structure Studio Miessen designed, and some of them just used them as a space to host their works. So there are 4 strands in this project: exhibitions, event series, critical writing residency, features 25 Scotland-based emerging writers who are invited to write text in response to the notion of a collaboration. So this strand is edited by Maria Fosco. The whole project will culminate in the 12-hour jamming symposium on 25th of July. And the symposium is centered around declarations from artist groups across Scotland, and will be jammed with readings from writers, gigs, performances, screenings by artist groups.
We are currently at the end of our micro-residency in the Cooper Gallery project space, the lower foyer, and we've been in residence officially for 3 days, since Wednesday, 4 days.
6 days.
But we started on a Monday, but the gallery became sort of more of a public sort of space, but only for a few hours of the day as of Wednesday. So we've been in the gallery space around a table, looking back at 10 years of our practice, and
responding to the Cooper Gallery's over-title, which is like studio jamming.
Yeah. So over the 3 days we have literally made jam, well over the 6 days we've made jam in the space, and as a little kind of mini celebration we're giving that away tonight with homemade scones, and there's going to be a little kind of competition,
kind of musical competition,
performance, and where we'll give away jam and t-shirts. Also part of this, we were fortunate enough to get a little bit extra funding that allowed us to look slightly more deeply at our last 10 years of practice, and we're producing it's not a publication, it's just like we have a hard drive and a series of things that have been created over the last 10 years, and we've had a chance to kind of pull them all together, a lot of kind of digital stuff, a messy hard drive, and we're trying to order that completely, and then create like a physical output, a physical manifestation of our archive is the little word that's making sense to us, and it's a bit of a home gig for us because we're all graduates of Duncan and Jordanstone. We all live different places now, but we've kind of came back.
Well, we're a collaborative group, so it's like essential to our shared practice, I guess. And what that means usually is that we meet up and we come together in the space, and we decide through kind of conversation and often a lot of kind of joking and playing around what it is that we're going to do. And there's also always like a certain amount of chaos involved when we come together and meet, and then we make the show, and then we all fly out the next day. So to some extent we haven't got to really be the audience of any of our work. So here we've decided to bring together everything that we've ever made, to kind of go through our archive and try to summarize and reevaluate, and hopefully have some fun with looking through all of the things we made. Yeah.
But we'll also be making new work while we're here, hopefully. We're bringing a boat which we've built.
We're going to take the boat over the west coast, to the west coast, and we're going to carry it over Tarbet. Right. So we're going to carry it over the Tarbet and then row the long way round. We should say what a Tarbet is, but it's like the lowest point between two bodies of water that you can carry a boat off, and it actually means to carry. And so it's almost like there's kind of instructions of something to do on the map at certain places. So we're going to kind of fulfill those instructions like they were kind of some manifesto left by the Vikings.
And we formed about a year ago, and this is actually our first collaborative project together in this formation. Well, in this exhibition we're showing a combination of film, audio piece, ceramics and lighting installation. And I guess all the work kind of informs each other and is all interconnected, but the music was the thing that we started working on first.
Yeah, so we've installed a sound piece, and we'll be performing live, sort of based on that in a couple of weeks. The sound piece is really taken from our rehearsals, where we've been experimenting with new instruments and we've went a bit more electronic than we have before. So we've been exploring different sort of sounds, and then we've taken, our recordings from that, and then we've remixed them, edited them, taken things away, layered things up.
I think it's interesting because we're the sort of newest group in a way, and this is our first project together, so I think a lot of the other groups are showing work that they have made, some of them over a period of several years, but for us all the work in the exhibition has been made for this exhibition, so I guess we've had a bit of a different sort of focus in that respect. For me it's interesting, I think, the sort of different way of working on my sort of own work and working collaboratively, and I really like the balance between those two ways of working, because it's like a different way of thinking or a different way of engaging with what you're doing, and I think it's really interesting for me to have a bit of both in my practice.
I think if you're going to be a good collaborator, you've got to allow for lack of control. You've got to be you've got to be not uptight.
Yeah, it's definitely a good way to learn how to not be too uptight.
Yourself in check.
Yeah, because you just can't control things in the way that you can with your own practice, and I think that's really a really healthy thing.
Killing Time was a project that Graham and I originally worked on for Dundee Contemporary Arts in 2006, and it's the video work from that show that's been reconfigured for the show here, for studio jamming.
So the video narrative that's in studio jamming is a story or a tale of a harlequin, or a man who starts life as a harlequin and who quickly changes into a suited man. And the narrative is about his journey through a variety of places, and when he journeys to these places, he meets different people who live or inhabit these different places or spaces that he goes to. I think the way that we've worked since Killing Time is although the projects have been slightly different and were aims and ambitions for them, I think the manner in which we started collaborating has stayed quite constant through those collaborations. And for me, the key thing is the fact that we're both from the different professional backgrounds. For me, that's what makes the collaboration work. And Graham's right about the way that jobs go to one or other of us, not by saying, can you take care of that, but it's almost by default knowing that I can take responsibility for certain parts and Graham can take responsibility for certain parts based on our professional experience, and I think that's been a real key and important part, especially as the projects have got more ambitious. I think we've found that being able to take responsibility for certain parts of them has been a valuable part of the collaboration. And it's interesting hearing me saying that out loud, because I realise now that there's two parts to the process. There's the conceptual part, which is established through conversation, and then there's putting that concept into practice, which is when your practical skills and experience and knowledge becomes crucial for the two different professions that we work in.
I think there's something interesting about film for both of us, and that each project has involved film, because in a way, I suppose that's kind of where we meet in a way, in that I've used quite a lot of film and video work in a theatre context, and Graham's done that in a visual arts context, so it feels like that's quite a natural place for the projects to focus.